Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hey, let's just focus on a short sharp tip. And whoops, I'm jiggling around a bit, aren't I? There we go. I'll try and stabilize it a bit. Again, no tripod, no microphone, but no excuse to not get this done and share this quick tip. Okay, New Year's resolutions, they're coming up. And actually the timing's usually pretty good for a New Year's resolution, especially after the back of Christmas and maybe a little bit of overindulgence and winding it back. But with that said, when it comes to picking your New Year's resolution, the thing I'm going to offer you that I think we need to be conscious of is pick what you want from your New Year's resolution. Don't pick what you think you should do, because I think there's a strong correlation between attaining a New Year's resolution and its relationship to something you want to do versus attaining your New Year's resolution against something that you think you should do. So if you do something that you actually really want to do, it's almost visceral. It's a real sort of innate drive to get this thing done. You're more likely to get it done, as opposed to something like a task that you are obligating yourself to do because you think it's something that you should do. So with your New Year's resolution, just take a moment to go past those things that you think you should do and get into something that you really want to do. Okay, a couple of other tips on that then. It might be something, for example, you want to do a wheelie on a bicycle. You've always wanted to do a wheelie and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do a wheelie this year. Let's get that skill done. And especially if you're the sort of person that really thrives on learning new skills, you get that real sense of fulfillment. That's perfect for something like a New Year's resolution. It might be reading 26 books a year. For whatever reason, when you read a book, and this is how I feel, every time I read a book, I feel smarter by the end of the book than I did at the start. Reading books tends to spark something in my brain as a medium. Or is it media? I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe I need to read a book. But whether it's learning how to do a wheelie or some other skill or some other level of attainment like 26 books, the other thing I'd recommend is have in your plan micro catch-ups with yourself to see how you're going, how it's progressing. So if it's something like 26 books, that's a book every fortnight to give you your 26 books in a year. So what you should do is catch up weekly. Just set an alarm in your phone where you're doing it for a time during the week where you know when that alarm goes off, the chances are you're going to be doing nothing, and you take 5 minutes to just check in with yourself and see how you are going. That way, you're not sort of reading 2 or 3 books total for the first 3 months and then finding you're behind the 8 ball by quite a bit, and then you potentially give up on your New Year's resolution. You're checking in consistently, so when you start to fall a little bit behind the 8 ball, you're ready to ramp it up a little bit because you know you're behind the 8 ball. That's another reason why I'm a fan of weighing myself every day. Now, of course, I don't act on every single weight each day, but what it helps me, because you're looking at a trend over time, but what each weight each day does is it helps me explain, well, what is it I did over the last 24 hours that might give me what I've got now? And sometimes, you know, reduced weight overnight more than what I usually experience, which is I lose about 800 to 900 grams overnight. But if it's a kilo, sometimes that can be because I was really hydrated in the evening and I had a longer sleep, so I lost a little bit more weight. Weigh myself every morning, get up, have a quick pee, boom, straight on the scales. Okay, this is a little bit more detail than you needed to know, but this is the point. By having those micro check-ins, it means I can make quick, fast decisions. Where if I weighed myself every month, then what does that one monthly measurement mean? I mean, does that monthly measurement reflect what may have happened more so over the last 24 hours rather than what's happened over the last month. But if I have those daily measurements over the month, I can see what the trend is and I can apply it to something. There's attributes that contribute to those changes in the weights. It might be I'm hydrating myself more, or I'm running more mileage, or I'm getting better sleep, or my nutrition has been better. So you're not looking at those daily weights in isolation, but what you're looking at is those daily weights as clusters to give you information. So let me wind it all the way back. Choose a New Year's resolution that means something to you, something you really want to do, not what you think you should do. Don't make it an obligation, something you really want to do. Be really clear on that. You shouldn't have to be selling it to yourself. You might think, this is it. I have waited years for this, and this is what I really want. Then decide how often you're going to check in on how you are progressing, and have those check-ins and have them frequently. I'd say weekly. For me, that's Sunday afternoons. I spend about, oh gosh, it could be anything from 10 minutes to half an hour just sitting down and thinking about how I'm tracking and how I'm going. The last tip I'll give you just before I start to wrap this up is think about what are the micro measures that you can have for your for what it is that you want to attain. So if it's reading books, then of course your micro measures is every book of that compiles up to the 26 books. So it's not have I read 26 books or not, looking at that in a binary. You'd be looking at the books, looking at individual books, the micro measures. Or a micro measure under that would be reading half an hour a day. And then after a couple of weeks, is the half an hour a day giving me what I need? Am I tracking to target, or am I a little bit shy of what I need to be? Maybe I'm a slow reader and I need 45 minutes a day to be able to average out one book every 2 weeks. So think about those micro measures, boil it down. Don't have your macro measure the whole thing you look at. So if I'm looking at, for example, if it is weight loss, it's not so much my weight on the scale every day, it's making sure that I'm eating only 3 times a day, and I'm pre-planning what I'm eating the day before, and it's how well I'm following that plan once I've pre-planned it. Knowing that by measuring those elements, if I am successful with those elements, then the result becomes part of the process. The result is positive because I've done all the micro measures beforehand positively. So if it's doing a wheelie, you might go, right, what do I classify as a wheelie? Right, a wheelie is something that I can do on a bike for 40 meters. So then you might be, you know, for your first week, as long as I can get the wheel off the ground. And then for the second week, I need to be able to get the wheel off the ground for about 2 meters. And then you build it up that way. But look at your micro measures. So you break it down. So don't let your result be the only thing. Go back from your result and go, what are the behaviors? What are the things I need to have in practice to be able to do that? So again, for wheeling, it might be I'm going to do half an hour on the bike every second day. Or here are the 3 days a week that I'm going to spend half an hour to practice wheeling. So break it down. Don't just think, okay, it's a 40-meter wheelie at the end of the year. Break it down into micro measures, and you can monitor those micro measures and make sure you're checking in to see how you're going on those micro measures. Again, for me, I've actually, for my running, I've got about 17 micro measures. And look, if you're interested, or if I'm running out of material, maybe I'll share those in a video coming up. But there's 17 things every Sunday I go through and go, how have I gone? But really high level. It's stuff to do with strength training, with recovery, with sleep, with nutrition. So I've got a whole bunch of elements in there, even studying how to run better. So I've got a whole bunch of micro measures. And what I do every week is I just basically rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 to see how I've been performing them. One of them is, for example, I'm making sure that when I go out for a run, I do a proper warm-up. And when I go out for a run, I understand the purpose of that run. Is it purely recovery, Or am I looking to do some interval training at a specific speed? Whatever it is, making sure that I've got purpose before I do the run. So I'm not just running, I'm running, but knowing exactly why I'm doing that run. And I find having purpose for a run makes it a lot more enjoyable. But those are my micro measures, and what I'm doing, one of those micro measures is making sure I've got purpose before I go for the run. And at the end of the week, I ask myself, with all the runs I went on, and it might be 6, 7 or 8 runs that week, did I have purpose before I went out for every run? And if it was 4 runs out of the 8 that I had purpose, that I had it clear in my mind exactly what I was looking to do during that run, then I give myself a mark like 5 out of 10. And next week what I do is I look to improve that and do a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10. Of course, I want the consistency. I want to make sure that every run I go out on, there's purpose to it. So yeah, really think about your micro measures. Okay, wrap it up. New Year's resolution. Exciting time to join everybody with something new. Let's outlast 99% of people that have a New Year's resolution. Let's make sure it's resolute. So pick something that means something special to you. Not what you think you should do, what you want to do. Make sure that you have micro measures. So don't just have the binary view of did I do it or did I not. What are all the micro measures? What are all the behaviors that need to be in play for you to get or obtain what it is that you really want to do? And have check-ins, weekly check-ins, to see how you're going with those micro measures, how you're progressing. And that will help keep you on track. You will have bad weeks where you're disappointed at yourself. You might go to the degree I do. This is going to be quite candid. And I really admonish myself. But that's okay, because I react to admonishing myself. I give myself a verbal uppercut, and because of that, I pull my socks up and I do better the next week. So think about these things. What works for you? Not what works for other people. What works for you? Develop your own check-in. And if you react positively to positive reinforcement, that's better for you, do that. If it's giving yourself an uppercut, do that. But either way, just be honest with yourself in terms of, are you on track or not to meet the target? And you'll know that by looking at all your micro measures and how you're performing. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I hope that was helpful. Like any of these videos, it's about making life easier. So if there's anything in this that's good, steal it. If I've talked about something that's quite different from other ways or other perspectives that you've had in terms of picking and trying to work through your New Year's resolution, if anything I've offered is different and the other tactics or strategies you've employed haven't worked, try it. Why not? It's only 1 year. Try something different. Can't lose. Yeah, especially if it's successful. So again, anything in this video that you think you can steal, do it. This is all about making things just work for you. If you don't want to do a New Year's resolution, don't make it an obligation. Don't make it a chore. Focus on something else. Though, if you don't want a New Year's resolution and you lasted to this point in the video, good on you. That's some that's some real resilience. Okay, team. New Year's resolutions, they're coming up. Why not start early? Why not start a day early? Just pilot. Just trial it for a couple of days before the New Year's resolution, the January 21st starts. If you trip up, doesn't matter. It's about how quickly you get back on track. And no better way to test that than pilot it. Decide on it in the next hour and go, yep, that's it. I'm going to go for it. Especially if it's like, for example, cutting out sugar. Try cutting down now. Don't leave it to January the 1st, which admittedly is only a couple of days ago away. And some of you watching it will be a couple of days after January 21st. But yes, start your New Year's resolution a couple of days early or start it a couple of days late. But have a pilot period too, where you're just experimenting, you're trying things. So you might try some new foods that are really low sugar, if that's your thing, if you want to reduce your sugar. So, yeah, just be easy on yourself. But don't lie to yourself, and if you need to be tough on yourself, be tough on yourself too. But remember, gosh, remember this more than anything, you're on the same team. So don't go down the self-sabotage path. You're on your same team. If you're disappointed in how you've performed, that's okay. Work out why it happened. What are the behaviors that led up to that? And they can become pre-contact or pre-incident indicators before it happens again. There's certain messaging that might be happening in your mind before that behavior happens. For me, again, I think I talked about this in the last video, it's rationalization and justification. So I come back from a run, hey, I've had a big run, I deserve to eat, blah, blah, blah. When I know it's not the best food to help my body with recovery. But now I know that I go through this step, this process of rationalization of the foods. What I do now is I try and beat it. So what I do is I plan now, not just my run, but what I eat when I come back before I go on the run. Because the worst thing I find I can do is I go on the run, then I come back and then I go, right, what can I eat as a recovery food? But if I plan it and I check it's all in the fridge and it's ready to go, or conversely, maybe I do it the other way around. Sometimes I check in the fridge and go, what have I got? And go, right, that and that is going to be what I eat when I come back for the run. And I'm going to eat it half an hour after I come back from the run. And then there's going to be another 2-hour window before I eat again, which will be my main meal, which will be da-da-da. And sometimes what I do when I'm in the fridge is I put those items together. So if it's going to be a salad, for example, and it's avocado and cucumber, and I might grate a carrot and I put that on spinach, I put all those things together clustered before I go out on the run. So when I come back, you know, it reminds me when I open the fridge and I see those things all together. Not that I need the reminder, because the fact I've already pre-planned it means it really makes it almost 100% certain I'm going to eat those foods. All together, I pull them out of the fridge and I get into it. Where before, I'd go for the run and then I'd come home and I'd justify grabbing something that was probably a little bit easier to prep, to eat, as opposed to making a salad. And of course, you might be thinking right now, dude, why don't you make the salad itself before you go for the run? What I found was, yeah, that's a really good idea, but sometimes I procrastinate then to go for the run and I find other tasks to do. But that's what works for me. So this is all about finding what works for you. And again, if I share anything in this video that you think will work for you, take it. If you're not sure, try it. It's that simple. Right. That's it. That's it. Surely that's it. That's New Year's resolutions. Thank you so much for hanging around in this video. Again, only if you think there's value in you receiving these videos, you know, hit subscribe, but don't oversubscribe to too many things, because yeah, that's not making life easier for yourself. Whole bunch of other videos like this coming up. If there's something good in this video, hit like. You know how it works with the algorithm. It helps out any good content producer. So I'm not just talking me here. I'm talking anyone you see that you like. Use that voting mechanism to help them out to promote their content. Handy stuff. All right. Take care of yourself. New Year's resolution coming up. Opportunity there if you want it. Catch you in the next one.